Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Casual KO. That's still, I think, a name that we're looking to change. We're trying to do big things over here and make a whole brand. I'm trying to come out with clothes, trying to come out with all kinds of shit. So yeah, for now we're still calling it Casual KO. This is the MMA show here on Dangerous World. You can view over on the Profit Picks YouTube channel, which is gaining some steam. And we've been hot lately. I've had the best week of my life so far. And I don't throw big amounts around, but made had my first $1,000 profit bet of $64. Thank you, Alex. It was great. Felt fucking incredible. And celebrated for the rest of that day. And then Contender Series made another like 820. So not bad for a Sunday and a Tuesday. And we're getting into our sport this weekend again. Got a big UFC.
Congratulations on the
Thank you.
level up.
Thank you. Yeah, it felt really good, man. I hope I can keep that going. I need to get a Kyler Murray card now, but now they're expensive. Like the cheapest one I can find is like $100 signed. So trying to get a deal on one. If anyone has one out there, let me know. But so we're rolling into a big MMA weekend or combat sports weekend. The two that I'm familiar with, I know that I think there's a one fight as well, but obviously we're going to be talking about the Apex card here, Brandon Royval and Tatsuro Taira. Pretty awesome matchup, I think. And then there's a huge BKFC card early in the morning on Saturday. So they're probably going to be going around the same time. But this BKFC card's sick. There's 3 title fights. It's in Marbella, Spain, in a bullfighting arena. It's going to be pretty cool. That is on the DAZN app now, not on the BKFC app. But yeah, you can definitely watch that. And BKFC's been good to people that bet on it, man. I don't bet on it myself, but it does seem to work very well for people out there that do it. The lines aren't they're not as these smaller promotions, they don't have the resources to make these lines as precise, right? It doesn't mean the lines are wrong, but in the UFC, dude, they have that shit down to a science. It's almost like NBA and shit at this point with the amount of people that bet. So not quite, but you get where I'm coming from. Alex, what's going on, dude?
I'm doing great, man. I had a great week myself. Was on the right side of some split decisions for UFC. I was on the wrong side on Raquel. Ended up making some live bet mistakes. It was a tough card from a live bet perspective because everyone who should have won the fight kind of lost the decision.
Yeah,
So I
man.
hit Raquel Pennington at plus 300. Thought I was gold into a decision, but ended up didn't get in the nod. Kind of upset there. But, that's what you get when you go against your pick. Because I did like Juliana. The script and the politics pushed it. If you watched the press conference, you knew the script was to push her to win so she could face Kayla Harrison.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
good
and we hit
good
on
call.
Tisha. You gave out some good plays last week. I gave out some good plays. Tisha Pennington, we knew the politics behind that fight.
Oh yeah.
Anything close, I said, was going to her because they're not going to have another UFC fighter on the roster with a 13-8 record when they could have given her this close decision, make her 14-7. It looks more marketable when they book her in the future. So I'm ready to go on to this week. I think we're all heating up. I got a couple spots on this card that I absolutely love, and I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, dude, there's a few bad decisions on that night. The Tisha Pennington, Carlos Esparza jumps off the page to me. But I want to talk about the Cesar Almeida Eor Pateria fight. I picked Pateria, and I think that Almeida should have had a point taken.
Absolutely, but you know what? I called that fight to a T. I said that Pateria was gonna survive in that fight, and I did tell y'all throw a flyer on that Ihor Pateria takedown. He got like three of them,
Yeah.
so that was a plus 300.
How do you
But
feel about the Alexander Hernandez Austin Hubbard decision? Because I picked Hubbard on the show here, but I actually bet Alexander Hernandez last minute because I kind of wanted to fade myself in that spot.
the line
And
move, he went from minus. Alex went from minus 200 to even odds
yeah,
closing, and that was enough for me to throw a flyer on Hernandez. I bet him live as well. That was one of the only live bets I hit that night. I thought he looked better than he did in previous fights. That was one of the best performances by him, even though it was kind of boring. But
uh,
yeah, I thought he won a unanimous decision in my opinion.
Yeah, he got the split, but that was actually my biggest bet on the night. I was going to throw 100 on him at the minus 200, and then I bumped it up to 200 once I saw that line move like that because something fucking happened. So, yeah, great night there. Joaquin Buckley, Stephen Thompson fight was incredible. Stephen Thompson was winning that fight up until Buckley caught him.
Another live bet I lost because they were trapping, and some of these live bets you can kind of predict the outcome just by where the line is. And I kind of had Thompson up around maybe even 2 rounds, and he was still about plus 150, around plus 200 odds, and I had to throw a flyer on that, and then he immediately gets knocked out. So yeah, in hindsight, it wasn't a good bet, but my initial bet was him by decision only, and that was a
Okay.
push, and that's how I recommend people betting these underdog spots. Try to pick a spot where you know how they're gonna lose and avoid that situation.
Yeah, I like it. The Roman Dolidze Kevin Holland fight was a shit show. I think we were all on Holland, if I'm not mistaken. It was you, me, and Harry. I forget what Harry picked, but
I believe I was on Delete, but I could be mistaken.
yeah, I threw money on Dolidze or on Holland there, sorry. But yeah, he's just too small for someone like Dolidze. And then probably the worst decision of the night, Bautista versus Aldo. That was fucking bullshit. It was stupid.
No, that was not the worst decision. I feel the pain, but I think it was fair that he won 2 rounds. I believe that the worst decision on the night was definitely Pennington and
It's a
penalty.
close second for me. Close second. Because yeah, I mean Pennington won that fight. I think everyone would agree on that. But I mean, even Dana White was talking shit about Batista's performance without mentioning his name. Like there needs to be some consistency in the judging, and I mean the only way that you really get around that in the short term is not letting it fucking go the distance. If you're a fighter, look for a finish. So that is what it is, but not a great weekend. But then we rebounded pretty good on Sunday, as I mentioned earlier. So I'm still cool with it. But let's get into this Apex card here. Royval versus Taira. We've got at the moment, what is there? 15 fights? No, 13 fights. 8, 10, 12, 11, 13 fights. Sorry. So we've got 13 to work with here. Some good matchups, some fun ones. It sucks that my boy Chris Barnett fell out of the fight. I was
We
gonna
are
go,
all upset about that. That was the fight of the night.
dude. I love Chris Barnett, man. He's entertaining to watch. A 5'9" dude that struggles to make heavyweight at times, but he's pretty athletic. So that dude needs to go down to welterweight, man. He needs to stop eating so much and get down to welterweight. He could be a problem. Let's uh let's do this here. Let's roll into this first fight of the night. Junior Tafa's new opponent is Sean Sharaf. I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea who the fuck this dude is. So maybe you can educate me on this guy if you've watched any tape on him here.
Oh, this is the new opponent, huh? I have done no tape on this guy. Uh, didn't even know this fight was booked. Gonna
Must have just came together
pass.
like yesterday or
Gonna
today.
pass. I'm gonna go Junior Tafa. I mean, don't know nothing about this guy. Maybe a finish here. They look like they both hit hard. Yeah, maybe a finish.
Yeah, this
But
dude's
I'll
only
go Junior
4 and
Tafa
0.
round one KO. But I haven't looked at this guy at all. I'll take a look later tonight.
Tafa KO round 1. Um, man, I don't know. I think Junior Tafa is not very good. He's a great kickboxer, but if this dude has any wrestling, I mean, he's gonna know what to do. This Sean Sharaf dude, 4 and 0, looks like he's got a belt in 2 promotions, Fight Club and LXF. So no idea. Looks like he's fighting like kind of a lower level of competition. The most experienced dude that he's fought's a 3-1 guy, 3-1-1, and LJ Torres. Who knows who that is either? So it's tough. Just my low confidence in Tafa. I'll take this new dude just as a flyer. I'm hoping he's a big dog, and I'll just throw a little bit on him, man. But I like you. I need to actually look into who this dude is because no idea. So I'll go Sharaf. I'll go submission round 2, just without knowing anything about this dude. So take that with a grain of salt. Uh, Next fight of the night: Corey McKenna versus Julia Polastri. I'll take this one real quick so you don't take all the chick fights. Um, I really don't think McKenna's great. She's 8-3. That's a decent record, but I just got to go Polastri here. I'm going to go decision. I'm not going to overthink it. She's probably a favorite by the time this closes. And yeah, it's hard to believe in someone with the nickname Poppins for some reason. I don't know. It's not for me. So yeah, give me Polastri decision.
I agree with you here. All over Polastri. I think she's gonna win every which way this fight goes. The volume, the wrestling. She did good against Knutson in her last fight out. I thought that was a great performance. I'm curious to see the line on this. Corey is the dog. Julia minus 130. Not the biggest fan of that line. I would have liked to get Julia at, plus 100. But McKenna's stock is low after getting submitted in the first round against Jacqueline. So, yeah, I'm going to go Julia too. Not a super confident pick. Probably would stay away from the money lines on this. You know how I am. And you can't trust these judges, guys. You really can't trust them. Might even take a flyer on the over, even though it's juiced at minus 500. But I'll go Julia wins a unanimous.
Julia decision. All right, this is you, Dan Argueta versus Cody Haddon. Interesting one here too. I think isn't Haddon coming off the Contender Series? Yeah, submission in his Contender Series fight. He was fighting in Hex over in Australia, I believe that is. So,
Mm.
yeah, Dan Argueta's good, man, but Cody Haddon definitely showed his stuff there. So,
Mm.
I mean, dude, Cody Haddon not fighting too long ago. He fought on this season of the Contender Series.
Mm.
What do you got in this matchup?
I'm gonna go Dan. I think he's finally gonna get another win here in the UFC. All these fights he's had have been super close, or even he's been winning them at times. I think he's gonna show his veteran experience here. I think he's gonna gatekeep a little bit. I think he can outwork him and win a decision here. Just mix it up on Cody, and I think he can get this dub here. At plus 150, I got to take Dan here. That's just the value spot in my side, in my opinion.
Yeah, what method and round? I didn't hear you.
I'm going to go Dan wins a decision.
Yeah, because he's kind of a big wrestler too, right? Argueta is.
Mm.
So yeah, I think this is too much too soon for a head, and it's a good step up, but it's so quick.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I got to go Argueta as well, and the decision seems likely. I don't think Haddon's going to gas or anything, so he's probably going to give him some problems. But yeah, when people get overhyped on these Contender Series prospects, it usually doesn't work out too well. So yeah, give me Argueta decision. Not much disagreement here so far on the card, but I'm sure it'll come. Next up, Jonathan Pierce, JSP versus Pat Sabatini. Uh, I'm not a fan of Sabatini myself, man. I think that whole gym, they need to work on their striking a lot more. These dudes are both very good grapplers. Sabatini's probably the better of the two, but JSP's got a more well-rounded game, and I think Pierce could knock out Sabatini because he does seem a little chinny. So give me that Pierce knockout, and we'll say it comes early in round one. Maybe late in round one, but early in the fight. So what do you think about this? A lot of people on that decision for Pierce, it looks like.
I wouldn't do that, to be honest. I kind of like Pierce by finish here. I like the under in this spot, and to be honest, I guess we could see a wet blanket fest for 3 rounds and them just grappling each other, and we see who's the better grappler. But I think Pierce should come in here. If I'm his coach, I'm telling him, just keep it standing. You're better than this kid on the feet. Keep it standing. You got this fight in the bag. And all the bettors are seeing this as well. His line was minus 140 last week, skyrocketing up to minus 200 soon. It's currently at minus 180. I see it going higher. If you like Jonathan Pierce, bet him ASAP. I'm going to take him in this spot. I think it's all about game plan here. He can handle. I think Pat's the better BJJ guy,
Mm-hmm.
but I believe that JSP is smart enough to keep this standing. I think he's smart enough to trust his coaches. I think he got humbled in that last fight against Brito, and I think he's going to come in with a little bit more level-headed. I think he's got humbled in his last fight, and I think this is a good time to take him.
I have a feeling you're on knockout. Are you on round one with me?
I'm on a round 2 knockout for Pierce.
All right. You're turning into Harry here, making me ask you for
I'm
fighters
sorry.
and
I'm sorry.
methods
You're
and
right.
props and stuff. No, it's all good. I know it's a weird method that we do here on the show, but it makes it more fun. All right, next matchup of the night. You can take this one first. And this is a cool one, man. CJ Vergara versus Ramazan Temirov. What do you think about this one?
A lot of value on CJ Vergara here, to be honest. I was tempted to take a shot on him. I think the line is wide here. I think there's some value on Vergara. I kind of capped it as him as like a plus 120, maybe even odds. I don't agree with the 7% on Tapology. I think he's a little bit more live than the odds suggest. Um, I think I'm just gonna go back to the well here and go with the flyweight unders. I see a lot of violence in this. We've seen Vergara almost get put out by your favorite fighter, Daniel Lacerda.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna take a flyer, take the under here. Not gonna really back aside, but gun to my head, I'm gonna go Ramazan gets a round one finish.
Round one finish by knockout.
Not super confident. I do want to go with Vergara just based on the value, but this is a spot I'm gonna stay away from. I'm gonna bet violence.
Temirov, what would you say?
Round one.
KO?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, man, again, I don't disagree with what anything that you're saying there because obviously you're saying that jokingly that Lacerda is my favorite fighter, but I mean, Vergara made Lacerda actually look good, and he's not. I mean, we know he's not good at the UFC level. He's entertaining. He's fun to watch. That fight, I recommend everyone go watch it. CJ Vergara versus Daniel Lacerda. It's the most fun fight that I've ever seen. Really, like it was just nuts. It was in San Antonio, where CJ Vergara is from, and yeah, it was just crazy. Dude got dropped like 3 times in the first round and then came back and won later. So check that fight out if you haven't seen it. Lots of running, probably the most running that's ever happened in a UFC fight. It makes Norma Dumont and Chelsea Chandler look like nothing. Vergara walked so that Chelsea Chandler could run, basically. So Vergara's good. He's tough. He's not going to quit on himself. But this Temirov guy looks good, man. Like he looks solid. Um, no fights in the UFC yet. Came over from Ryzen. Ryzen's his quality promotion. Lots of talent there. And he's fighting good dudes. 10-3 guys, 16-9 guys, 12-5 guys. He's beating these guys, 15-8. So I gotta go with Tamarov here, Temirov, however you pronounce it. And I think it's very straightforward. I think that it's probably just a little bit of shit going back and forth in the beginning. Vergara can get dropped easily. I don't know if I see it in round one, but that is probably the most likely outcome, realistically. So for the sake of disagreeing a little bit here, I'll go Tamarov knockout round two. Um, does he split his wins and losses? No, he's a knockout artist basically. So yeah, give me Tamarov knockout round two. Not much to add there. Back to you on this Clayton Carpenter versus Lucas Rocha fight. Is it Rocha probably because he's Brazilian? Whatever it is. But Clayton
Rocha.
Carpenter
I'm not
versus
sure.
Louis Rocha. What do you got?
I'm on Clayton Carpenter by decision. I think it's going to be a close fight. The spot I'm targeting on this fight is the over 1.5, -240. That's a spot I like. I think Lucas is pretty good himself, to be honest. This is a close one. I don't want to be on the wrong side of a robbery like Raquel Pennington last week, so I'm only going to be taking the over. But I think Clayton can work in the wrestling, mix it up a little bit more, and outpoint him. I think this is, one of the easier ones on the card, but you know how I am with these decisions, man. If it's going to go to a decision, I'm just going to take the over.
Yeah, that's smart because Carpenter's going to wrestle a lot. And we know we're in Vegas again. That we know for a fact they don't like wrestling there. So you got Rocha, or I'm sorry, you got Carpenter by what?
Decision.
Carpenter decision. God, I want to disagree with you so bad on one of these fights, man. We're pretty much agreeing on everything so far, but I can't do it here. I just see the same thing that you're kind of implying here, where Carpenter comes out and really uses that wrestling game. When did Rocha fight? Was it 11 months ago? So it was last season on the Contender Series. I haven't seen that fight. I mean, I watched it live, but I don't remember it. I think Carpenter, even though he's just 7-0, I think he keeps that going. He's going to end up 8-0 after this, but I don't see a finish on his side. So you're probably smart to just go with the over. But yeah, give me Carpenter decision as well. Next up, this is a fun one to talk about actually. Nico Price versus Temba Gorimbo. Temba Gorimbo takes it serious, man. I didn't think that he did when he got kind of sponsored by The Rock. It seems like it's kind of hard to like stay motivated when you get something like that with very little effort. I know his story's very, interesting. He's been a warrior his whole life, it sounds like, but I mean, when you get in, you just get sponsored by The Rock right away. That's gonna definitely, it seems, soften you up a little bit, but it hasn't. This last fight against Pete Rodriguez 2 fights ago, That doesn't tell you anything there. Pete Rodriguez kind of sucks, and it's tough for me to say that because he's from Tucson, fights out of Tucson, I think. And this Ramiz Brimage, that was a legitimate unanimous decision win there. Nico Price, he's got the power and all this stuff, but he can be chinny, can be very chinny, as we saw against Robbie Lawler. Robbie Lawler obviously hits like a truck, but he was getting up there in age and hadn't had a performance like that in a long time. So give me Thimba Gorimbo. Probably. I mean, I could see him submitting Price, but I think that I see a knockout here coming pretty early, round one or two. Give me round one knockout, Thimba Gorimbo.
I agree with you. I'm all over Themba here. I had to have a couple of my good friends, kind of, because I know Jared thinks Nico Price is a live dog here, and he had to talk to me about this fight because I was sold on Gorimbo when they booked this fight. I think the line is a little bit wide. I think Gorimbo should be, maybe a slight minus 170 favorite. So it's a bit too juice for me, and I do like Gorimbo. I think he can mix it up better. I think he's the more durable guy here. I'm gonna go Gorimbo to mix it up, get a lot of takedowns, and outpoint Nico. I'm scared. I think this could be one of those close fights as well.
If it's
And
close, you know where it's going, though.
and here's the thing: if Nico Price keeps it standing, I don't know how this fight's gonna look. For all we know, Nico Price is gonna get a knockout. So I am honestly gonna end up. I was talked off this fight. I'm gonna stay away. I am kind of leaning that this fight goes a little bit longer than people think, but I'll go Gorimbo wins the decision.
Gorimbo decision. Yeah, I'm switching mine to KO round two for Thimba. I think it does kind of play out a little bit longer than that, but yeah, that decision's probably the smarter look.
Mm.
Now, this one's super interesting. I'm interested in your opinion on this. D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez, the fading vet with solid boxing, really, really good boxing against Alex Morono, who has not looked good lately. So what do you think about this one?
I believe in D-Rod here. I think he's still got some in the tank. He's one of my most confident picks on the card, even though he's coming off a three fight losing streak. I think this is an easy bounce back fight for him to keep him relevant. I believe he can win by knockout here. That's what I'm going to go with. I think he can win a decision. And I really don't see a way that Morono can win without wrestling and having a heavy grappling game plan here. I don't think he can win on the feet. I think he can keep it close, but anything close, I think they're going to give to D-Rod just based off of respect from the company. So I know Dana White has a little bit bias towards D-Rod. I think D-Rod's the guy here who's going to have more fights, who's going to have a longer contract in the future. Morono's on his way out, no opinion. No offense, sorry.
No
And
offense.
yeah, I'm going to go D-Rod here. I think he gets a knockout. I'm going to go round one. I think he clips him. And I don't think Morono can survive being clipped or by D-Rod. I think one shot and he's done. One flurry. Morono's not going to be able to survive here. I think he's going to find a way out. So I'm going to go round one knockout.
Round one knockout for D-Rod. Um, yeah, for me, it's hard to pick D-Rod in any fight, but the way Morono's looked lately, it seems like the logical pick, but you know, Morono is alternating wins and losses, and he just lost his last fight. He hasn't lost two in a row in a little
Well, I'm just
while.
saying, let me put this into perspective for you.
He's never
He
lost two
had
in a
a
row.
very close fight against Kelvin Gastelum, a fight that I thought he won, in my opinion. And Morono's coming off of, you know, that fight against Nico Price and that fight against Court McGee, who's clearly on the juice again. But I don't know. I just give more respect to the recent losses by D-Rod.
Sure. No, I mean, I agree with that for sure. This would be the first time in Alex Morono's career that he's lost two in a row. And he just needs to do the wrestling here. I mean, D-Rod, his takedown defense isn't great. And he, you know, he's kind of a fish out of water and on the ground there. So I see more ways that Morono can win, but he can absolutely get clipped like quick. And he can lose a decision to this dude because they're fighting on the feet and everything. It's nuts that Morono's younger than D-Rod. D-Rod looks younger, seems younger, but against probably my better decision making, I'm going to go Morono. I'm not confident in it, but your most confident pick on the card is D-Rod, and that makes sense. But I just see this. I see Morono making it a little bit more boring, having a lot of control time, very low significant strikes for both guys, and Morono wins a decision.
This is why I like this spot, because it's one of the spots on the card where I I feel confident if I happen to go to a decision. Like I think D-Rod's the only guy who can finish it in this fight, in my opinion. I think Morono maybe could get a fluke sub, but other than that, I got to go with D-Rod with the finishing capability. And politically, anything close, in my opinion, is going to go to him. He's lost too many close fights in the past. He's the one that's more marketable. So I got to go D-Rod here. I think it's a good spot. Minus 200 is just dead on what it should be.
Yeah, it might be like one of those MMA karma situations like we saw for Pennington last week, the lower level Pennington, Tisha, also known as Tisha Torres in the past. You know, she got fucked over in her last decision and then kind of fucked over someone this one. I mean, Morono is really good with submissions when someone's shooting on him. He's got a good guillotine. And that's not something that you really like to believe in because guillotines are so like low level of like it's a very low percentage that actually hits on these guillotines. But
Thank God we know D-Rod's not going to shoot.
yeah, I mean, he's not. So, like I said, that's probably the better pick. I'm just going with the difference here, just with the grappling. And I do think that you're right, though. I think that D-Rod's probably the side here.
All right, here we go, Ryan. Tell your heartbreak story again about Grant Dawson.
Well, he's not up yet.
Oh, I thought he was up next.
Yeah, he's in 2 fights, but I will. I will. Fuck Grant Dawson, but I'm probably going to pick him. This one's Josh Fremd versus Abdul Razak Al Hassan. And I think this is the easiest button that you can click this week on Abdul Razak Al Hassan because, I mean, dude, Fremd, when we were talking about him fighting, who's the other Renzo Gracie guy? I guess I can look. Andre Petrosky. When he fought Petrosky was not looking good leading up to that fight. And I was saying, you know, Josh Fremd's one of the worst guys on the roster, in my opinion. I really thought that he was back then. And then I kind of changed my tune. I leaned towards Fremd in that fight. And then actually later in the week, I went over to the Petrosky side. Fremdy's just not really good at anything. He's very tough and he's a decent wrestler. His striking's not very good. I think he's going to wrestle the fuck out of Al Hassan here, but I don't think it's going to work. Al Hassan has got good judo. I think that was his base before he started doing the striking. And I mean, he goes by Judo Thunder, so you got to expect some judo. So I think if they tie up, Al Hassan can end up on top. And I think he probably knocks out Fremd with like a TKO type thing because Fremd is tough. And I think it comes later, round 2 or 3. I'll go round 2 just because the power of Al Hassan is so much, you know, there's a big discrepancy there in power. So give me Hassan knockout round 2.
I'm with you on that, bro. I'm with you. This was one of the spots that I had to bet early. I thought the line was going to spike up. You know, I kind of capped this at like minus 200, minus 250. But I think they're reluctant to cap it that high because of the age difference here. You know, it's not too often that 39-year-olds be coming in as the favorite against a youngin like this. And especially a guy who's much bigger than Abdul. So I'm all over Abdul. I think he's the better striker. You're absolutely right. I don't think he's even UFC material. But I have to give it to him here. He's going to be the better BJJ guy. That's how a lot of people are picking him to win. If you are going to go with any double methods, I would hedge with Fremd by sub. That's one of the only ways I could see him winning. Other than that, Razak at minus 162, where it's currently at, is a safe bet. I'll be having that. I have a straight bet on him. So I'm liking that spot. I'm going to go with him round 1 KO.
All right. A little earlier than me, but that's all right. We can't agree on all of these. All right, next fight is Chidi Njokuani, I think is how you pronounce it. Bang Bang, we'll just call him that. It's easier. Versus Jared Gooden, the Night Train. This is a fun fight, I think, man. I want to hear your opinion on this real quick.
Yeah, I got a hot take on this. I'm all over Gordon here. I think he's the guy who's got more dog in him, to be honest. I think he's the guy who picks it up. I like him here. I think he should borderline be the favorite, in my opinion. I think the line should be swapped. I think Chidi should be an underdog at the spot. He's knockout or bust. He's not well-rounded. He's one-dimensional. It's hard to back him here as a favorite, you know. If the odds were swapped, you know, I consider it, but I got to go Gooden here. The value, it's almost an auto bet spot here. He can win on the feet. He can win on the ground. And the later the fight goes, the better for him. He's got the better cardio. I don't see Chidi looking good too late. Barring a knockout, I think Gooden has this in the bag. Plus 150, give me that. This is a good live bet spot because Chitty usually looks good in round one, usually gets the finish in round one. If you get out of round one with Chitty, you're usually going to win the fight. I'm going to go with Gordon wins a round three KO. I think he's going to get him down, get a little ground and pound, and Chitty's going to be too tired.
All right, it is Gooden. You said Gordon twice. It's Gooden, but
Whatever.
we know what you meant. Um, dude, I was hoping that you were gonna pick Cheaty because I thought I had a hot take here with Gooden. Everything that you said, Cheaty, he hurt Gregory Rodriguez bad and then got finished. It's almost like he dumps his load, and then if it doesn't work, he kind of loses faith in himself. That 23-10 record is just screaming. I mean, we see 23-9 on the other side. It's not crazy different at all, but I mean, Gooden, he's just got everything that he needs to win here. I think the better gas tank. He is the younger dude. I think he's a little shorter. Yeah, 6 foot to 6'3", according to Tapology. But I mean, Gooden's one of these guys, man, that kind of flies under the radar. Cheaty's a little more popular because I think it's because of his voice. Honestly, he's got an interesting voice. It's super like deep and sounds like a villain in a fucking anime or something. But yeah, man, Gooden just has everything that he needs here, and I think he could even get the finish in round one because of Cheaty's pressure early on. He's going to expect that and probably go in smartly to try to play defense a little bit in that round one. But I could see him catching him with a counter. Cheaty's kind of irresponsible defensively. So yeah, I gotta go Gooden here, and I thought that was a hot take, and he might be a dog. Yeah, is Gooden a dog?
Plus 150.
Yeah, I mean that's a solid dog shot. So yeah, give me a Gooden. Probably go decision. Even though that sounds crazy. You said knockout round two? Yeah. I could see
Round
a finish
three.
here.
I wouldn't be shocked to see a sub either, guys, to be honest. I
Yeah.
would take the finish, wouldn't get greedy on the prop, but I'll go knockout round three.
Okay. Well, yeah, here's the one that Alex wanted me to talk about here. We got Grant Dawson versus Rafa Garcia. And I guess it's Rafa Garcia because he's in Mexico. But man, Jared Gordon, sorry, Grant Dawson. Now you got me saying Gordon. Grant Dawson fucked me over more than any other fighter ever has in any. I mean, I've been fucked, but not this hard by a fighter that should have absolutely won. So when he was fighting Bobby Green, I was in first place in one of those big DraftKings fantasy things. So we're talking like a $5 entry gets you $10,000 if you win. I was solidly in first place. I was going down the whole line. No one had Dawson and Green in their lineups. No one had both of them together. It was either Dawson or Green, and I was well ahead on that card. And Dawson goes out there and scores 0 points because he got knocked out in 2 seconds by a sneeze from Bobby Green, who doesn't knock out anyone. I mean, this dude doesn't knock out anybody. He's a death by 1,000 cuts fighter. So that really turned me off Grant Dawson, but you just got to understand that this dude is good at what he does. I think that was too much for him just being in a main event against a veteran, and he got caught slipping big time. I hate Grant Dawson. I hate that boring fucking style. I wish that the UFC would get in his ear and tell him like, "Hey, you can't be doing that shit. You gotta stand up here." But he's not going to. He's working with American top teams, so he's got some good strikers around him, like DP, right? I gotta go Dawson by decision. That's how he wins fights. If there's a finish, it's on the Garcia side. But yeah, give me Dawson decision. I hate it.
I'm with you. I'm with Dawson on this side. The line's way too wide to put any money behind it, especially for a guy who typically wins decisions. I wouldn't be shocked to see Dawson get a finish here, to be honest. He's usually good early. Later the fight goes, he is the king of the round three finish, too. So, wouldn't be shocked. This is just one of those fights that's up in the air for me. It is tough not to take a flyer on Rafa, even by finish only or anything like that. But I got to agree with you and think Dawson gets some takedowns. That's what I'd be curious to see. I would be curious to see the takedown line on Dawson. Because if he's going to win the fight, he's going to get takedowns.
Mhm.
So I would be curious to see that. It's probably going to be 2.5, but I would be willing to bet Dawson gets a couple takedowns. So I'm curious to see what that is. That's probably the only way I would bet this fight. But I'll go Dawson to win a decision. Staying away from this one, though.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no value on either side. I mean, they really rolled back the competition level for Rafa Garcia in recent fights, and this is a step back up. So, he was starting off fighting guys like Nasrat Haqparast, Natan Levy, who's not great, but he's definitely dangerous. Jesse Ronson. Then he loses to Jakar Close, who's very good. And then they step him all the way down to Mahashate. And then Clay Guida, who's very old, right? At this point, he's one of the oldest guys. I think he's the oldest guy on the roster. I'm gonna try and check if he's 42. Yeah, 42 years old. I mean, yeah, I gotta go with the side that I don't want to pick, and I don't want to see that fight. You know what I mean? It's nothing is entertaining about that dude's style. So definitely got him by decision. You have him by decision too?
Yes, I'd also be curious, just a little tip, I'd be curious, keep your eye out on that Rafa Garcia takedown line too, because, he's not going to be afraid to go for some takedowns against Dawson. So, I wouldn't be shocked for him to get one either. Anything plus money on that, I wouldn't be minding throwing a flyer on that as well.
Yeah, I'm with you on it. All right. Co-main event of the evening. Decent fight here. Brad Tavares versus Jung Young Park, the Iron Turtle. I mean, you got to call him the Iron Turtle. So what do you got in this co-main?
Kind of another fight I don't want nothing to do with. I see this going to a decision. I like Brad. I think Brad's going to be the one working on the feet. I think Park has to grapple, initiate the clinch, and stay there in order to win this fight. But that's how I see it. I see it being a little bit back and forth. I see a lot of transitions, and I see some grappling in this fight. A lot of the clinch. So I think Park's going to be winning a lot of minutes here. I want to go. Brad's going to be winning the distance battle, and I've been back and forth with this one. I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to go with Brad wins a decision. I think there's going to be a little bit more time at distance, and his jab's going to win him the fight along with his low leg kick. And I think Park has the finishing capability. He has a great chin, but I believe he's going to have to wrestle here. And he's shown that before in the past. He's shown good fight IQ. I wouldn't, maybe a double method would be like Brad decision or like Park submission wouldn't be a bad look. But I'm going to go Brad decision. Not super confident on this one. It is the dog. But yeah, Park's young and he looks good, and it's tough betting against him.
Yeah, yeah. Finally we are on. I think this is the second fight that we don't agree on. I gotta go with Iron Turtle here, and I was a big not hater because I don't have anything against the dude, but I didn't believe in his skill set and his style. Brad Tavares is just not looking great lately. Like he's got that good takedown defense. He got that double 1-2 eye poke from Chris Weidman, which was brutal, and then goes out there and loses to Rodriguez in the third round, I think it was. Park, I think has more stamina. He's got more to offer, and he's got more looks to show here. So just got to go with the better fighter at this point in time. Tavares has fought like the who's who of the middleweight division, so respect to the OG. He's got that Hawaiian fighting spirit in him and stuff. So he's tough to put away. Give me Park decision. Park's not the most entertaining dude, but I think he's a slow and steady kind of guy. So only loss in his last five was to Andre Muniz, which isn't a good look, but that was a good, grappling fighter. So this is a striker, and he seems to do pretty well against those kinds of guys. So yeah, give me Park decision. Fairly confident in that. You take the main event here, buddy. Brandon Royval versus Tatsuro Taira, the undefeated Japanese prospect at 16-0. It's pretty wild. And he's been looking really good, man. But Brandon Royval has just got something. What do you think?
Hard not to take Royval here, especially with all this recent action coming in on Tyra. Royval last week was plus 160. He's currently plus 220. That's a big movement here. It's getting to the point where it's almost an auto bet situation on Royval here. Tyra hasn't earned the respect to be a minus 350 favorite, in my opinion. Never gone 5 rounds. How's he going to look later in the fight when he can't put out Royval or submit Royval? That's his way to path to victory, in my opinion. And we've seen Tyra get taken down himself, as if Royval's not going to, counter wrestle him. I think the longer this fight goes, the better Royval's going to look. He's the one who's fought for the belt. He has the 5-round experience in many 5-round fights. So I gotta go with Royval here, just based on pure value. Seeing that line go up, I think now's the time to take him at plus 220. I don't know if it's gonna go any higher, but this is a pure value spot. Not super confident. It's kind of like how a lot of people were betting Khalil last week because he was up 2 rounds. The first 2 rounds were his.
Mm.
And I feel like this is going to be the opposite way around, where he's going to be down 2 rounds, and then Royval's going to pull away and get the last 3 rounds, keep it standing, maybe even get a couple takedowns himself. So I'm going to go Royval wins a decision. Not super confident. The props on this are pure gambles because Royval can win by finish late, Taira can win by sub early. In the decision, you're just trusting the judges here. So this is one of the gambles of the night. I just like the value at plus 220 on Royval, so I'm gonna take a flyer on him.
Yeah, dude. Royval's good, man. I kind of underestimated him in his last two fights. Beating Brandon Moreno is a good look. Brandon Moreno does seem to be fading a little bit, it seems. Maybe it was like, being in Mexico City, it was a little too much or whatever. But Royval's really good on the ground too. Like this dude's great. I think that was his base was jujitsu. I think. I could be wrong there, but yeah, this dude, he's a well-rounded fighter. Big fan of his whole shtick, being called Raw Dog. That's pretty dope. Taira, man, he got dropped by Edgar Chairez, which I don't really think Chairez is great. He's definitely decent, but if you're getting dropped by someone like that, now that was 3 fights ago, but Carlos Hernandez, that's a good win, obviously. This Alex Perez knockout was so fluky. Um, I don't know if you remember people listening, but yeah, he just jumped on his back and like swung over to the side,
He
and
was
it like
losing that fight too.
he was. So, I mean, the only reason Alex Perez, I think, his body failed him there was because it has a history of doing that to him, and he was very fucking active. Like if you go from not fighting for a couple years or whatever to fighting 3 times in 1 year, your body's not used to that, and he's getting a little older. Alex Perez is, so he got caught kind of slipping there by someone that I think is a little overrated. And yeah, I see Brandon Royval. He could do anything here other than probably the sub. I don't see a sub happening, but I could see a late finish, like round 4, round 5 finish by knockout, or just domination. Keeping this dude Tyra on the ground or away from him, and doing what he needs to do. So yeah, give me the veteran out of these two. Um, Give me Brandon Royval, man, and I'll take him knockout round 4. I like that. Think he drops him a couple times in this fight potentially. So that's it. That was the whole card. We ran right through that. What do you got anything else, Jared? Oh, Jared just got in. Shit. Right as we're ending. We can see what he thinks about a couple of these fights.
Give us the whale bet.
The
Give
whale
us the
bet.
Yo, yo,
schema.
Yeah, at least we'll catch the whale bet. What's up, dude?
what's going on? Am I just in time for the bet?
You're just in time for the end. So what
Perfect.
yeah, was there any spots on the card that jumped out to you? I'm like we're looking at the main co-main, maybe some other ones. Like who do you got in the main event?
I got Royval. Not
Nice.
like super confident, but Tyre's been on the fade list. I think 5 rounds definitely is going to benefit Royval more. Longer it goes, the better, I think. If he can stop some of like those, initial grappling exchanges, if he can at least scramble and get back to his feet or just stuff some takedowns, if he can do that early, I think it's going to pay off.
I like it. I like it. Method round. What do you think?
We'll say decision.
All right. Yeah, we're all on Royval. What about that co-main Park and Tavares?
Nah, fuck that fight altogether, but I guess Park
Okay. Any other
decision.
ones that jump off the page to you?
Oh, dude, I
Morono,
got a whale
Gooden?
bed and a steamer ready to go.
You want to do those? All right. What do we got?
All right, whale bet. We're going Al Hassan, Al Hassan, however you want to say it, and Temirov against Vergara. Those two together is plus 110.
Nice. Not
And
bad.
then the three-teamer steamer, three underdogs: Lucas Rocha, Daniel Argueta, Pat Sabatini. That's plus 1587.
Sabatini, huh? What
Yeah,
was
I
it?
mean it's
Plus
gonna be
what?
a fucking what's that?
It's plus what?
1587.
Yeah, that's not bad odds. Yeah, Alex and I are both going against Sabatini in this one just because he doesn't seem to have the striking that he needs, but that's a solid little dog parlay or three
Yeah,
teamer.
it feels kind of 50-50 to me. I just think it's going to be like a scrambling mess. And if it's going to be a scrambling mess, I can go either way. I'll take the guy that I think's a little bit stronger at dog odds.
I like it. I like it. But yeah, Jared's been missing in a lot of these episodes lately because he's training. What are you up to over there?
Fucking about to head over to the boxing gym right now. And yeah, man, I'm just doing everything I can to get ready for this.
Are you taking time off work, or how are you able to do that in the middle of the day here?
No, I'm still working. So basically after work, Mondays I train at City Tong in Boston. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays are with Rick Hahn. Wednesdays and Fridays are at the boxing gym, and then usually like every other Sunday, me and Rick will get some people together for sparring.
Hell yeah, man. Well, good luck. Do you want to talk about the fight or anything like that? Do you want to promote it? Maybe we can get some people buying it.
Yeah, it's just it's November 9th, Combat Zone in Manchester, New Hampshire. And if you watch the stream, it's on czmma.com, and you can use like a coupon code. It's just my last name, Lennon. That'll get you a little discount, and I'm pretty sure they kick me a little something for that.
Oh
We'll
yeah.
throw the link in the description for you guys as well.
Sweet,
Yeah,
appreciate
are you
that.
fighting at 86?
Yep, Combat Zone 86.
Okay, I'm trying to see if I can find it online here. Is it up?
I know that tickets are on sale now. I don't know if they have it like up on Tapology yet.
Okay. Oh no, I was trying to find it on their
You
website.
got to send Tapology a nice picture
Yeah, we'll do.
with Mr. Kitty.
Mr. Kitty.
Mr. Kitty.
Yeah, I was telling him that his nickname needs to be Mr. Kitty, but he wants to go by Lenny. So I guess, that's almost as cool.
No, this one I'm just me.
Oh, you're just Jared Lennon. No nickname.
Yeah, no nickname for this one.
All right. Well, yeah, I was trying to see if they had the card up on their site yet. It doesn't look like they do just yet, but it should be up any minute. When you say it was
November 9th.
November 9th. Okay. Well, yeah, everybody out there, wish Jared good luck at Teat Picks. And yeah, it should be a fun one. I saw your little matchup graphic. That's fucking dope. So, is there a way to bet on this?
No, if it was at Encore, they would have lines, but they're not going to have lines for this
Okay.
card.
Well,
Oh!
we'll bet on you in spirit.
That's right.
Well, cool, man. Well, good luck in your upcoming fight. Alex, is there anything else that you want to plug before we get out of here?
Jared stole my best pick of the week, which was Razak Al Hassan. I just hit him on the money line. I would recommend that. Just lay the extra juice. Feel pretty safe with that. I guess if you're looking for an extra parlay leg, I'll go D-Rod to add to that, and you get plus money. And but my main play with D-Rod, I was gonna aim for the over 1.5 in the Clayton Carpenter Lucas Rocha fight. So put those two together, get plus money, and yeah, that's what I like this week so far.
Okay. Well, cool. Yeah. Well, good luck to everybody betting. BKFC event this weekend, like I mentioned, it's a pretty big one, and then the UFC Apex card. Is there a one?
I almost forgot, guys. You guys got to hammer Donald Trump money line. Give you a $250 deposit bonus in the description. Drop the balance.
All right. I mean, I like Arizona going red too. That's a nice prop that you found. But yeah, I don't know if I bet on politics or not, man. It's tough. What was I saying right before we were wrapping up? Oh, is there a one event on this weekend?
No, I don't. Well, they'll always have that Lupini card in the morning, but no, they just had a fight night, so I don't think there's one this weekend.
Okay. Oh yeah, I was thinking of last week. Yeah, that's about it. So cool. And then one more week of Contender Series, and it's over for this year. So get those bets in for that one as well. And we will talk to you guys next week. We got a bunch of weeks consecutive here with UFC events, so we'll be here. But yeah, good luck to everybody, and follow us. Check out our shit. We'll see you next week.